Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Shalini.
Okay, sir, shall we start?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, so good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Department of Business Management, uh, you all are warmly welcome to the session 2 of the Dissertation Workshop Series 2026. So today we are honored to have Dr. KG Priyashantha with us as our resource person. So Dr. Priyashantha is a senior lecturer attached to the Department of Human Resource Management, Faculty of Management and Finance, University of Ruhuna. He has extensive academic and research experience, particularly in the area of research methodology and scholarly writing. So we are grateful to have Dr. Prashanta for this session and for accepting our invitation and for taking the time to share your knowledge and expertise with our undergraduate students. So I'm confident that today's session will provide valuable insights into conducting high quality systematic literature review, which is essential for your academic dissertation writing. So, dear sir, I would like to invite to begin this session.
Thank you, Shalini. Thank you, department head and all the staff for organizing this and inviting me to deliver this session. This is an important session when we are doing research work. So I guess all of the students are now in their 4,000 level. Now already going to start your dissertation work. I noted that last week started another session which is relating to the what was that, Ms. Shalini?
It's about conceptualization of the research.
Okay. So now, once I believe that you all have the knowledge on how to conceptualize your research. So, how you can conceptualize your research based on what, right? So, what is the what do you call this? What is the foundational work for a research, right? So because a research start with a problem, research problem, right? So I believe that now 100% you are aware about how to uh, develop a sound research problem based on the based on a problem within the reality, right? So obviously, problems arises within the society, uh, and you need to pick a problem within the society, real world. In other words, in real world. Then that problem needed to, required to be conceptualized, right? So once the problem is conceptualized, you need to do now, not at this level, 100% your problem is conceptualized. Roughly, the problem uh, is conceptualized based on your knowledge. But before that, before fine-tuning your conceptual framework, in other words, conceptualization of the study problem or variables in the problem, you need to go to the literature, right? So you need to do the review, literature review. You need to check whether the current knowledge uh, uh, current knowledge has sufficient uh, enough solutions to the problem that you have already identified. So whether the current knowledge provides solutions, obviously you don't want to do the research because you can find solutions from the existing knowledge, right? So existing knowledge normally stored in the form of books, in the form of research articles, in the form of website, in the form of newspapers, books, book chapters, various reports, right? So that is the knowledge, current knowledge, or in the people mind, uh, mind of people. So within their head or in the brain. So that is the knowledge, right? So from the knowledge, existing knowledge, you need to find out a solution, right? So therefore, you need to go to the existing knowledge bases to find out any solution, to check whether there is any solution to the problem that you have already developed. Uh, uh, then how you find the knowledge? So knowledge is obviously stored in the form of, as I told you earlier, books, book chapters, various forms of what do you call it? That we normally call it as codified knowledge. Codified knowledge means they are stored in the form of printed materials or maybe electronic materials, right? So we refer normally them as nowadays we have research databases, we have databases. Those knowledge are stored in those databases, right? So you basically need to go to the knowledge databases to find out relevant literature relating to the problem that you have developed, right? So then problem, then you initially the literature need to be searched and they must be reviewed, right? So I will share my PowerPoint presentation on how to do that. So today I'm going to tell you how to do a literature review using different methodologies based on your problem that you are going to do your research, right? But for now, I assume that before anyone who is going to start a research project based on a research problem, need to initially, once the first step is the problem uh, definition or finding a problem and defining the problem in a way that you are able to do a research, right? Then once that is the first step. And the second step, soon after that, you need to go to the literature and review it to find out whether sufficient knowledge is available. If the knowledge is sufficient enough to solve the problem, then obviously you don't want to go to do the research, that particular research, right? But if the knowledge is not sufficient enough, which means that in the current knowledge you have gaps, knowledge gaps, then obviously you can target that research problem to do the research. So then basic intention is to find out gaps. Basic intention or basic purpose of doing a literature review is to find out gaps, right? Various gaps can be found from the literature review. I will tell you how to do those gaps. So basically, main purpose of doing literature review is to find out gaps, but apart from that, various other purposes as well. I will let you know throughout the session. Right. Anyway, we'll start the session now with that background. Right. Now, I will ask the same question from you. What I told you just few minutes before. Right? What is the foundational component of any research project? Right? So you can answer using this QR code. Just scan this QR code and you will be able to log into this particular slide and answer this question. First, scan this QR code or type this class code in this URL. Quickly do it because we have limited time. Take your mobile phones. Right now, done. There, you are doing well. Right, so now people are joining. While you are joining, I will ask this question. Right, so you can ask, you can type this. Sorry, insert. I have to insert another slide. Uh, right, you can answer this question. What is the foundational component of any research project? Can you see this question? Okay, now people are responding. Only two have answered. What happened to you? Only 9 responses. 6 are saying that the foundational component of any research problem is any research project is research problem. Consider about the second question as well, second bullet point as well. Right. 8 are saying, 8 of you, we have 14 responses, out of which majority saying the research problem. Only one is saying literature review. Right. I will stop getting the submissions. Right. Now, I can share this slide with you through the WhatsApp group. Hope shall we use it insert into the slide. Right now, this is the slide that you, this is the responses that you provided, which is included in the slide, right? Now, my answer is not this one, right? Along with this, you have another important thing. That is research problem plus literature review. Right? So because once the research problem found for your research, without reviewing the current literature, you can't continue the project. So these two is the foundational component of any research. Right? Why? As I told you earlier at the very beginning, you find the research problem from the reality, right? So from a particular phenomenon happening in the real world. For example, COVID-19. What was there? What happened there? We had increasing trend of death rates at that time. So that indicates the problem, gravity of the problem. Now people began to research based on the huge increase of death rates. Why death rates increased? Because there was no vaccine, right? There was no vaccine means that there at that time there was no any sufficient knowledge to address that problem. Knowledge gaps was there within the current, but people found that the COVID-19 is a SARS category virus. So that was found from the literature, from the knowledge bases, but there was no any finding. There was no any knowledge relating to the vaccine that combat that virus, right? So now, so that indicates once the problem is identified, you are compulsory to do the literature review to find out whether the current knowledge is sufficient enough to find the problem, or no, to check whether there are any gaps in order to address this problem, right? So the basis for any research is the literature review, right? Because already you have identified the research problem, then next one is the literature review. So without these two, you can't continue research. Right. Now, then what is reviewing literature? Reviewing literature is, as I said earlier, what is review? Review is appraisal, right? Or in other words, finding out. Initially, you need to search the literature, identify the literature. Literature means knowledge bases, as I said earlier, which are stored in various forms, right? So we have databases, we have books, book chapters, journal articles, research articles, newspapers, blog posts, websites, right? Various forms are there. Notes, reports, right? Various forms are there. All these are generally known as literature, right? So now literature required to be appraised or assessed or reviewed. Review in the sense that review simply means that identify contradictions, whether there is any contradiction, whether there is any gap, whether there is any uneven pattern within the knowledge, whether there is any weaknesses in the knowledge, whether there is any what do you call this different patterns, right, within the knowledge, right? So for that, obviously, you need to review the knowledge, review the current literature. Right, so that is reviewing literature. Then functions of literature review. Basically, as I said, basic functions of literature review, basic purposes, in other words, it provides the foundation of research, right? So once, as I said, I'm telling you again, once the problem is identified, then go to the literature and that must be reviewed, right? So then you can simply check whether the research is continued or not based on that problem or not, right? So literature review provides the foundational foundation of a research. Then it helps to identify gaps in the knowledge. Then again, not only identifying gaps and providing foundations for the research, but also it guides the methodology, because by reviewing the literature, you can identify what methodologies previous research has been conducted on the same nature, on the same background, on the same scenario, on the same related, what do you call these problems, right? So you can learn about the how methodology can be designed, with the methodology in the sense that research methodology, right? How the data will be collected in your research and how the data will be operationalized, how the scales or measurement scales are determined or developed, something like that. You need to identify, you need to learn about research methodologies which can be applied to your research, right? So review itself provide that purpose as well. Then obviously theoretical framework is fine-tuned, because last time I hope that how conceptual framework is developed, taught. Obviously, now I believe you have the understanding of how conceptual framework is developed. Conceptual framework is something like theoretical framework, right? So we have synonyms. Some people say theoretical model that you are going to test, and conceptual model, conceptual framework, right? All are same. Now, theoretical framework, or in other words, conceptual framework, you can fine tune based on the literature review, because you obviously roughly develop the conceptual framework based on the research problem, and now you are doing literature review, and by reviewing the literature, you can understand what are the supporting theories that underpin your research problem and conceptual framework and variables in that conceptual framework, relationships in that conceptual framework, how the theories, the most high-powered theories having the high explanatory power, how those theories can be linked and which theories are linked, which theories are highly related to your problem, research problem, right? And what do you call this? So that is the most important thing in the theoretical framework. And the mechanisms in the sense that, for example, if you have developed this relationship in your conceptual framework, simply here is an A variable and the other variable is B, right? So A impacts B. So that is your problem, simple problem, right? B is the dependent variable problem and A is the cause, right? So this problem, obviously this may be a cause. So you are assuming that this is the cause for this problem and you need to empirically test this whether A impacts on B, right? So in that case, you need to, this is a simple conceptual framework or theoretical framework, and you need to find out the most relevant theory that explain this particular impact. A impacts B. Suppose you are guessing, you are assuming that there is a positive relationship between positive impact between these two, positive impact of A. The impact, maybe you can test the relationship or impact, right? Suppose between these two, there is a positive relationship. And you need to find out what is the ideal theory that explain negative or positive relationships, right? So maybe we have negative relationship with this, right? Some research, some say that there is a negative impact, some say that there is a positive impact, right? So you are now in the real doubt. Now you need to check with the theory and you need to relate a particular theory to this and identify what the real impact, whether it is a negative or positive, right? So likewise, you need to find out a particular theory or set of theories if you have more variables, right? So through the literature review. So theoretical framework can be fine-tuned, or maybe you can find out some other variables relating to this one. Earlier with the problem, you have found only one variable. Now with the literature review, you have found some other two variables that is already linked to this particular dependent variable, right? So as a result of the literature review. So which means that literature review results to fine-tune your conceptual framework, and that is coming under the theoretical framework. So another functionality is the development of theoretical framework or fine-tuning of theoretical framework and prevent duplication. So another purpose or another functionality of literature review is to prevent duplication. Why? What is duplication? Duplication means repeating the same work, right? Because once the problem, as I said, this was told earlier at the very beginning, once the problem is identified, I said you are supposed to go to the literature review. You are supposed to do the literature review. Why? To check whether current knowledge is sufficient enough to solve that problem, or whether to find out solutions to that problem. When you search the literature and reviewing the literature, when you find a solution to that problem, which means that within the current knowledge, there are sufficient knowledge. Then in that case, you don't want to do the research again, right? You don't want to do a research again on the same problem, which means that somebody has already done. Then literature review helps to avoid duplication. Got it? Then the other important thing is synthesizing knowledge. So nowadays we have different softwares already developed. We can search millions of research, millions of knowledge bases regarding a particular problem, and they can be synthesized. What is synthesized? We can develop an overview of all the theories all the knowledge bases currently available and find out the gaps on that particular area. Right? I will tell you how to synthesize, because literature review is a kind of a synthesis. Synthesis means combining all the current knowledge and providing an overview of the current knowledge. Suppose, for example, you have a problem on particular area. Now you are going to do a literature review. For the literature review, you find, suppose, 10,000 research articles available on that area. Right? 10,000 articles. Now, what is highlighted, what has been found in the 10,000 articles can be taken into one half A4 size page. That is the synthesis. Right? 1 million research outputs can be summarized and reflected in the form of a synthesis by a simple half a A4 half page. That is, or maybe 5 sentences. Right? 1 million of research can be synthesized into 5 sentences. So that is the wonder of literature review. Right? And justifies the research. So literature review helps you to justify why you are doing this research. Justify in the sense that you have enough evidences to continue this research. Evidences are the gaps you found from the literature review, because you can say that once you identified your research problem, you do a literature review, and review itself identified lot of gaps, which means that within the current knowledge, there are so many unaddressed areas relating to the problem that you have identified. There are so many contradictions in the knowledge within the area of within the problem area that you have identified. There are a lot of weakness areas in the theory, in the current knowledge relating to the problem area that you have identified. So which means that there are a lot of gaps. We have knowledge gaps, contextual gaps, empirical gaps, right? So various gaps, sample gaps, various gaps can be there, right? So I will tell you how those gaps can be derived. Anyway, basically knowledge gaps, theoretical gaps, which means that there are no sufficient theory to address, no single sufficient theory you can find to address this problem. So that is a knowledge gap. From the literature, there is no sufficient enough answer to address this problem. That is the knowledge gap. And the thing that you have found, means that the problem that you have identified has not been tested in Sri Lanka. But you can find the similar solutions already found relating to the similar problem in Indian context or in US context. But Sri Lankan context, there are no any findings. That is contextual gap. And you have you within the current knowledge, you find theoretically sound solutions, but which has not been empirically tested relating to the problem that you have identified. Then that is empirical gap. Right? So likewise, there are industry gap, for example. You find answers, you find the knowledge relating to your problem within the banking industry in Sri Lanka, but you don't find any solution or any research finding or any knowledge relating to the education industry. Then industry gap. Right? Then unit of analysis gaps, for example. Unit of analysis means the same problem has been tested within the, let's say, family backgrounds, let's say, individual level. But group level, the problem has not been tested. There is no any solution, any knowledge how the problem will happen. The problem is occurring, or how the problem can be solved within the group level. Right? Or maybe you have the knowledge, suppose you have the knowledge on how the problem can be solved within the school children. But the problem, there is no knowledge how the problem can be solved within the university level students. That is unit of analysis gap. So likewise, various gaps are there. Those gaps can be identified from your research, and those gaps provides strong justifications for your research to continue your research. Then when you simply say that these are the gaps that you have identified, obviously those are the strong justifications to continue your research, because you are continuing your research to fill those gaps, right? Okay, now those are the purposes. Now, mainly two forms. We have background review and standalone review, right? So background review is now what you are going to do with your research problem. Basically, that is supposed to be done for a research dissertation or thesis or monograph, right? So basically, when you are going to submit a research report, obviously the second chapter is the literature review, right? So now the background review obviously provides in the second chapter. First chapter, obviously the introduction. The second chapter is the literature review. Now, in the second chapter, you provide theoretical background, conceptual background, prior research on the same area, the review of prior research, and theories relating to the current research, theories relating to the current research problem, how the conceptualization is justified, and how the hypotheses are developed relating to the theories and prior research. And all these provide in the second chapter. So in the background review is the second chapter normally, which provides the background review, the background for your empirical study. Empirical study means you collect the data and the problem is tested within the data collection by collecting data and findings derived based on the collected data by using scientific methods, and finally conclusions are made. That is obviously the empirical studies, right? Empirical, when you are doing an empirical study, obviously literature review must be done based on a research problem, and that literature review is a background review. So one form of literature review is background review. Right? We have another literature review form, that is the background review can be published as a separate review. Or background review, you can do a separate literature review as a piece of research, right? As a separate research, not as an empirical study. Empirical study can be done later on, but you do the research, you have a problem, and problem is defined as you know now. For any problem and any research, problem must be there. Now you are going to do a literature review as a research. Literature review itself is a research. Now in the background review, you are doing the literature review as part of your empirical research study, as a background for that empirical study. But now in the second form is literature review itself is a separate research, right? For that, you must have a separate research problem for your literature review, and based on that problem, you can do the literature review as a separate research. You need to design, you need to follow a different methodology for literature review, because literature review methodologies are there. Systematic literature review is one common famous literature review methodology, and scoping reviews are there, meta-analysis are there, various literature reviews are there, right? Those are the methodologies. But for your empirical study, that is not the one that you are going to do for your research. Even you can do a literature review for your dissertation as well, but that must be planned as a separate research study. But according to our experience, most of the students are doing empirical studies with the maybe it may be a quantitative empirical or qualitative empirical for your dissertation. Now, since we have very limited time, I can't cover all these two forms, but I'm doing various external institution lectures and resource personnel contributions for this systematic literature review using systematic methodology and how to develop a separate research study based on the literature review, right? So that is the second form. Second form is not for today's discussion. And I'm focusing on the first one, how that is how you can do a background review. Or in other words, how you can develop your second chapter based on the problem that you have identified, right? So on the problem that you have identified using a systematic literature review methodology, right? So you can review because I have various publications. I have so many publications on systematic literature review. All of these are not background reviews. All of these are separate research studies done uh, based on literature review methodology. Literature review. So which means in other words that uh, all these are separate research studies based on literature reviews, right? Literature review research studies, in other words, right? Now, this is not the focus for today, right? So, suppose conceptual framework is this one, right? Can you draw a conceptual framework that someone have already developed? I will give you the time. Yes, can you draw now? One of you or many of you can draw your own drawings, then I can select one of the drawings from my side. But why don't you draw this? We have 25 people already joined. You can draw this using your drawing tools. Anyway, since time is running fast, uh, since there is no response, I think it takes time to learn how to use this app. Right, I close the submission. Anyway, suppose this one, uh, conceptual framework. Obviously, you have this, right? Independent variable, dependent variable, right? You have a mediator, right? So this is the problem. Suppose this is the problem. And causes of this problem is x1 and x2. Suppose this is the conceptual framework that you have already developed. Now, based on that, you need to do the literature review. Here, you have the problem, how the problem is derived, how the problem is derived, identified. Problem is identified from the reality. What are the problems that you are currently having at the student level in the business management department? What are the realities? What are the problems that you are encountering? Right? So obviously, problem arises from the reality in our day-to-day life. Can you understand what I'm telling? Anyone prefer me to switch the language into Sinhala or Singlish or English? What would be the better communication mode? Do anyone need a Sinhala explanation? Right. Now, problem comes with reality, right? So, reality. How the reality, obviously, from the day-to-day real world, you identify certain problems. Then those can be targeted for your research. If the problem is subject related or related to your degree. For example, I'm teaching in the Department of HRM. We have various problems nowadays, HR related problems. One such problem is employee engagement, right? Globally, we are now in the engagement crisis. In Sri Lanka as well, we have an engagement crisis. Right? Globally, we have nearly 70%, only 17% of people are engaged in their jobs, which means that 83% of people in the sense that workforce, out of the workforce, working people, 83% are disengaged from their works. They are getting salaries, they are getting benefits, but only maximum provide maximum contribution towards their organizations, only 17. Which means, in other words, that 83% are disengaged from their jobs, having more benefits, promotions, and everything. Economically, that is a big loss to the entire economy in the world. Country-wise, region-wise, similar patterns are there. In Sri Lanka, we have nearly 32%, no, sorry, 24% engagement and 76% disengagement. So these figures indicates the reality, right? So obviously, in your problem statement, you need to provide evidence to show that the problem is a problem. So in order to show that there is a problem, you need to provide evidence. Why? To show the gravity of your problem. Any kind of evidence, right? For example, when it comes to the COVID-19, how the problem was derived? The gravity of the problem in COVID-19? By the death rates. Because at that time, we experienced that day by day, death rates were significantly increased. Right? So increasing death rates, when you take the figures, obviously week by week, last month by month, during 4 months period, first month, second month, third month, fourth month, there was a huge increasing trend of death rates. That is the reality. That urge us to do research, find new knowledge on finding a solution for the COVID-19 problem. So that is the reality. Then gaps. So simply gaps identified from the literature review, right? So gaps can be simply roughly you can assume, but those can be fine-tuned through formal literature review, right? So all these two make the problem, research problem, and these two, or in other words, research problem can be reflected in a form of a conceptual framework. And conceptual framework is fine-tuned by the literature review. Clear? So that is the background for literature review. Again, I'm telling you the same thing. Right now, in your research project, dissertation or thesis, now you need to find out the differences between these two. I'm not going to tell you because you had a research methodology course, and there are various sessions, and you have different AI models nowadays. You need to know the difference between these two. You are supposed to do the dissertation, right? What do you need to write about in the literature review chapter? So what must be included in the literature review chapter? How the chapter is structured? Or in other words, what are the contents? Right. Before talking about the contents, now I will tell you uh, how to do a literature review generally, right? Steps in literature review. But please note that you are supposed to do the literature review based on your research problem, right? And research problem helps us to develop a conceptual framework, suppose like this, right? This is, let's say, this is a kind of this is a similar type of conceptual framework. This has been developed uh, based on a research problem. Now, research problem already identified. Based on the problem, I have developed this type of a conceptual framework. I have developed a conceptual framework, right? So this is the conceptual framework. Now, I need to start the literature review. How I do that? Because in this conceptual framework, I have how many variables, how many constructs? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 constructs, right? So I have 4 constructs within this conceptual framework, right? To make it simple, in our case, let's say I have two constructs, only this. Suppose we forget about these things. I have only this one and this one to make the process more simplified. Now, you need to do a review on this one and you need to do a review on this one. Clear? So, how you do a review now? Because you need to check whether in the literature review, this is the problem, this is the cause, right? So in this conceptual framework, now you need to find out how this concept is defined. Definitions you need to find. Maybe sometimes there are contradictions in the definitions. There are weakness areas in the definitions. Those must be reviewed and identify a real currently matched or a particular definition which is more current, updated. Sometimes you find definitions which have been defined in 1970s, 1950s, which cannot be applied to the current status, current situation nowadays. Right? So that is a contradiction, that is a gap. Then you need to review the definitions and find out a good definition for this. Right? So then literature review helps to define the concept. And sometimes you need to find out scales, because in an empirical study, you need to measure this variable. You need to find out measurement scales. What measurement scales have been used in similar research relating to this particular construct? Right? Measurement scales and dimensions used relating to this in order to measure this scale, in order to measure this variable or construct, right? Then what are the supporting theories? What are the theories? Theories relating to this impact, because we are taking these two, right? So likewise, you need to find out those things plus there are contradictions and gaps. Now, to do that, you need to take, my advice is to do the literature review separately. Don't try to combine, right? You need to find relevant knowledge bases combining all these two. But my advice is to take each construct one by one and finally combine later on, right? Because you are supposed to find out gaps initially, as I said earlier in this, right? Because literature review basically is supposed to be done to justify the gaps, right? In that case, you need to identify a gap relating to these two, right? Which means that you need to identify whether this has been conducted, whether there is a sufficient knowledge relating to this, whether this impacts on this, and whether there are sufficient evidences on this area, and what are the gaps needed to be required to be searched and find out. Clear? And literature review provide the main purpose for that. Now, taking one variable at a time, you need to do the literature review based on these areas. Now, for example, you better take first variable, one variable at a time. Suppose, for example, we are taking this variable. Right now, you need to develop a search query in order to find the relevant knowledge on this particular area. How we can do that? I will tell you those later on. And this is the way how theories were linked, right? By the literature review. For this relationship, this was the theory I found from the literature review, which has the higher explanatory power to this impact. And this is the ideal theory which is having high explanatory power on this relationship, right? So these three theories found, and I found that from my literature review, there was no any study combining these three theories into one holistic model like this. So this is the gap I found from my literature review, entire literature reviews. I did separate literature reviews, which means that since I had four variables, I did separate 4 literature reviews. And 4 literature reviews, separate independent literature reviews, found that this type of a model has not been done by anyone in the world, combining all these 3 theories. So this is a novel model I have developed. in order to solve the employee engagement problem. Right? So these gaps have been found and justified by the literature reviews. So for that, I have done 4 literature review studies separately since, so this was done at a higher level. I did separate research studies on the, because as I mentioned earlier, there are 2 types of literature reviews, background review and standalone reviews. I did all these literature reviews as standalone literature reviews, right? So, and published as separate research publications, and finally combine all these publications into one and develop an argument that this has not been tested anywhere else in the world. And I set the foundation for empirical study, for my empirical study from this particular model. So that's how I did. But at your level, this much of higher level is not needed. Take a simple conceptual framework explaining your research problem, and then do a literature review on separate constructs, and finally review the definitions, review the scales, dimensions, theories, right? And prior research studies relating to, obviously prior research studies are reviewed, then you can simply identify different gaps, right? I will tell you now how you can do that, how you can do the review, because we have so many software tools already developed and searching tools we have already developed. We can use that, especially by using systematic literature review methodology. How you can do that, I will tell you now. I'm going to tell you. This is the chapter literature review, chapter content. And I will come to this point later on based on the literature reviews. This is the way how you can structure your literature review chapter. But before that, you need to do a review on separate your separate constructs of your conceptual framework. And then finally, your review findings needed to be structured based on this structure. So normally this is the normal structure I can recommend you to follow in your second chapter. Right, I will come to that point later on, right? So now literature review using systematic methodologies. To do that, what you are required, what you need, you need to have research databases, and you need to have reference manager tools, because reference manager tools offer 2 purposes. One is managing your reference and inserting and citations and references into your project report, into your dissertation, is done very nicely by the reference manager tools, right? Reference management tools, software tools available. But again, you can do the systematic literature review. You can do the literature review using reference management tools as well. And then, since we are not speaking English, or we are non-English speaking countries, non-native English countries, then obviously you need to you need to use the grammar correction tools. Grammarly is ideal, and there are some other software tools available. If you can use them, your report will be in a good quality. And paraphrasing tools as well you can use, and we have some other software tools available to support our literature review, our BiblioShiny and VozViewer, right? I don't think that the 2 hours time is not limited enough to continue all these things, but I will try my best to give you all the things that is supposed to do a handy literature review. Right now, these are the reference tools. We have Mendeley and Zotero. Zotero is the one I can recommend you. That is ideal, free open source software. And if you are still not using that installation, using practice and teaching everything is done within these videos, and you can watch these videos and learn how to use and how to install and use this particular software. Right? I can send you these two links through the chat box. You can download. Oh, right. So these are available in my YouTube channel. At the same time, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. There are so many research related videos guiding you to do the dissertation and all these other related things relating to the research work. Leisurely, you can watch them and learn how to do research. And this one. Then if you are using Mendeley installation and uh, Mendeley installation and use training video is in this, right? You can download, you can save these links for later use. And you need to have databases. Unfortunately, our library do not provide database access due to our dollar crisis. We don't have database access, right? But I will tell you one methodology using Google. And apart from that, Google is a search engine. Google is not recommended. Google Scholar is not recommended to do research, but people are used to take these Google articles, but there is no any problem with that. But when you search articles within Google for our literature review using software tools, there may be some problems because we are using software tools for that, and Google outputs do not compatible to those softwares we are using. So in that case, we are unable to nicely perform all the analysis, right? But I found a method, and but the problem is there is very limited time to teach you. But there is a video on how to do a literature review using reference management tool, which is available in my YouTube channel. You can find out from my channel and learn from that video, basically using Google data, how to do a literature review using Google data, using Google data plus reference management tools, right? And I'm not going to teach you again. I'm telling you how to reference, how to use, how to install, and how to use reference management tools, and all the teachings available in these two videos. Watch them. And there is another video on the same AI use and reference management, which runs about nearly 3 hours, which was done to Colombo University education faculty. And again, that is shared with you. And leisurely watch that one as well, which add more knowledge on the same process, right? So I did share all these links with in the chat. You can save them in a separate place in your devices. Leisurely, you can watch them. Now, You can leisurely even read the articles on literature reviews. These are the articles that I have published on literature reviews out of my research publications. These are the these are the literature review publications. You can go through them and pick some important information on how to do a literature review, how to define things, and how to operationalize, and what the methodology is, what methodology can be used, and how basically review is done. But the problem is all these are standalone reviews, not the background reviews. But I hope that those articles will provide insights for your write-ups in the second chapter. Right, I'm sharing that one as well. The articles. Maybe it is difficult to share. Done. And apart from that, very recently I published another two articles, and that was not in this particular list, which is available in my Google Scholar. And at the latter part down here to under 2026, you can see this is the latest article which was published in last month. And this one is again another literature review research paper done published in last one before the last week. Right? Those two are the green human resource management and individual difference. This is a meta-analysis. This is not a. This is again another advanced form of literature review. You are not supposed to do this one. Even you don't understand what it is because this has not been covered in the syllabus. This is an advanced research, but leisurely you can watch. You can read this. And this one is again a systematic literature review, standalone review. Just go through it. And if you are doing green human resource management related research, you can cite this. And if you are doing career decision or career management related topics in your research, you can take insightful ideas from these papers, and you can find relevant theories from these papers. And in this paper, we have developed two new theories to the world from this review, right? Just read them. If you are, those are the most very recent updated theories in green human resource management. So these two theories are the latest theories we were able to introduce to the world. If you are doing a green human resource management research, you can refer those theories. You can try whether these theories suit or explain, having the high explanatory power in your problem statement, to your problem statement. Right? Just go through them. Those are the latest developments on green human resource, latest developments on literature reviews. Right now, literature review. So basically, systematic literature review. I'm not going to go in deep within this area because this normally takes me to do nearly 20 hours to cover the whole thing, at least. But within these 2 hours period, I'm trying my best to give the basics. That's so much enough to prepare your second chapter, right? So basically, systematic methodologies are there. Basically, bibliometric analysis can be used to find out gaps, right? Because you are, as I said you earlier, You are mainly supposed to find out gaps. And gaps can be found through bibliometric analysis. Right. Now, I'm going to teach you how to search data, how to search articles based on the conceptual framework constructs that you have identified. Now, suppose this is our conceptual framework: gender stereotype change and employee engagement, right? Now you need to find out gender stereotypes. So, sorry, changing gender stereotypes. In that, basically, the area is gender stereotype. Synonyms, similar words, search query can be developed. Search query can be easily developed with nowadays we are using AI. We can ask AI model to define a right very good search query, right? Now I demonstrate you that using ChatGPT or Perplexity. And so you can simply say, I need to develop a search query uh, to search articles on gender stereotype change. Develop the search query. Right, so this is the search query. I can copy this and I will show you the most famous database. Even the university, our people do not have the database access. As I'm a researcher with various research partners, through my research colleagues, I have the access to those databases. And this is the Scopus database, and this is the Web of Science database. Those are the well-known, famous, and highly expensive research databases in the world. And I will show you how to do that. Right now, in the Scopus, you can type this search query. Better you can do this. We have O and N Boolean operators. First, take O Boolean operators. Search terms with O Boolean operators. We have to take those and paste here. And select article title, abstract and keywords option. Various options are there, but keep this active like this. Keep this selected, right? And then you have to add another field since with AND Boolean operators. We have 3 Boolean operators. Select AND Boolean operator. And here you can see the same AND there here. And copy the other part and paste here. And simply search. Then you can find here 11,940 documents. Right? So these are the articles, research, or books, or conference papers. Various forms are there. You can find out articles, research journal articles. We have nearly 8,600. Book chapters, 1,700. Conference papers, likewise. Those are the different types of documents, right? Now you need to screen them. You need to find out high quality articles because sometimes these titles may not be highly relevant to you, even it is detected by the search query. So then screening must be done, right? So for that, you need to find out a framework that is again compulsory to use, mandatory to use, mandatory to use when you are doing standalone research. But for your second chapter, it is not that much required. But for your what do you call this formality, and to make the entire process more systematic, and you can follow that framework, which is known as Prisma framework, that guides you how to do this article selection, screening, retrieving, and their methodological quality assessment, right? So basically, you can develop what type of protocol, or in other words, inclusion criteria or exclusion criteria. You can determine which articles are included and which articles are excluded. Normally, excluding articles must have a strong justifications to exclude, right? So, for example, for a systematic literature review, there are strong recommendations to include empirical articles. Empirical means research studies previously done based on a sample, a sufficient sample, and quantitative methodologies used, not a qualitative. You can even select qualitative studies as well on the same area. But there are strong recommendations because there are so many reasons for that. And you can read one of my articles that I have recommended. The reasons have been provided for such strong recommendations, right? So in order to save time, I recommend you to take empirical studies only. If you are doing an empirical study, right? If you are doing an empirical study for your dissertation, take empirical studies only. So from that, that is enough for the undergraduate level. And from that, you can do a nice review. Empirical studies. We are, suppose how we can find empirical studies. Unwanted papers you can exclude, for example, by the year, because 11,000 articles are there, and you can't even review all these 11,000, and sometimes there may be unwanted, irrelevant articles may be included in this, and those must be excluded. So you can determine the article published year range. For example, if you want to know the gaps in the current knowledge, current means the recent current, right? Very recently. So you can take the year range as 2020 to 2025 year range. If you want to study the entire period, this particular area has been researched, take all these areas. For example, you can find out the first research done on this database is 1974, 4 papers. From 1974 up to 2026, we have articles. Then you can take the whole period, right? That's up to you to decide based on your research area and based on your research objectives and based on your research literature review objectives. And we have subject area. For example, in social sciences, we have nearly 6,000 articles. Medicine on the gender stereotype, the same area, but in coming under the medicine discipline, which means that the same area has been conducted in medicine discipline. Arts and humanities, psychology, business management. You can take even business management only. In that case, you can take 1,000 articles, right? So likewise, you can determine. Anyway, you need to review the subject area research, but you need to have a strong justification on how the articles were included. And those must be explained a little bit in your literature review chapter on the literature review methodology, not the entire methodology, that is for third chapter, but literature review methodology must be given in a paragraph or two at least in your literature review chapter. So in that, basically, you need to have you need to provide strong justifications for your inclusion criteria. How many articles included and why those included. And what are the articles excluded and why those excluded. So then the reader can simply understand that you have done a very rigorous, systematic, good literature review. Then document type, as I said, since you are supposed to take only the empirical studies, you can select article, book chapters, conference papers. Review is not, review is something like what we are doing. Then you can exclude review. Books, all these can be excluded. You can decide to take only the journal articles, right? Now, we don't understand other languages. We can take English papers and limited. And finally, you can take country-wise studies. Since you suppose, for example, if your research is limited to Sri Lanka, you can study Sri Lankan studies. Suppose, for example, you are doing a particular model already tested within the banking industry. You need to check whether the same model has been tested in the let's say education industry. So in that case, better taking Sri Lankan studies only. But anyway, my advice is to take the global studies. Select all the countries. Keep as it is. You don't want to select specific country context. Then source title, these things not needed. Still we are screening or filtering the unwanted things based on our inclusion criteria. That's all, right? So here we have nearly 8,000 papers, 8,160 papers. Now we can export it. But the problem is here, since I got nearly 8,000, this database allow us to export at a time, maximum 1,000 articles at a time, right? So if you have 8,000 articles, you need to do the exporting 8 times because 8 times, 9 times, right? So first time, first 1,000, second time, second 1,000, third time, likewise 8 times 8,000, 160 another time, which means that 9 times you need to export this in order to get this all these 8,000 articles. But for make it more simple, my advice is to take at least less than 1,000 articles by using inclusion criteria. You can further go down. Better you can select arts and business management area. Then in that case, you have 792 articles, right? And 792 articles can be exported now. CSV file 700 and what is the exact number? 792. $792 articles, and we need to export bibliometric informations. Right, first column, second column, third column, and the last column, last button need to be checked, right? And this is being exported. So this is a paid database. You don't have the access, and I did show you just for your understanding. But we have a free database which is called lens.org. Everyone can access. And before going to that, I can save the same export. I can save the exported one. I can export the Scopus database. Scopus. right, we can type lens.org, which is a free database which has the same all the functionalities that the Scoopus is having. You can select initially, you can register with them. I have already registered with them, and I can log in with my ORCID number, or through LinkedIn or through your Google account. You can log into this database. Since I'm a researcher, I have been given an ORCID number, research ID. Then we can log into this database with the email ID or ORCID ID or LinkedIn ID or your Google ID. Right now I'm there. Right, select this PolarlyWorks and type the same search query. Right? Same search query. So then same process is there, right? So here you have 139,000 articles in this. Now, using filtering options, you can filter it up to maximum less than 1,000 articles. Year range, you can select the year range. Let's say you can take 2020. You can, but please note that the same year range must be taken, right? So in this, we took all the 17 articles published from after 2000, after 1970. The same year range must be taken here as well, because same inclusion criteria must be given. But for make it more simple, better since we have, because this area has been researched, that may not be the same for your research area. So just my advice is to take less than 1,000 articles since your level is, undergraduate. Better taking less than 1,000 articles, right? So by using different inclusion criteria, that can be reduced into a manageable number, which is less than 1,000, right? So these are the filtering options. Let's take 2020 to 2025. Now the total number came down to, what happened? Yeah, 2022, 2025, 25. Sorry, 25. It's a problem with this date range. It's the year range. Right, so came down to 65,000. Likewise, you can reduce this number to less than 1,000, right? Document type, you need to take only articles, others you don't want to take. Likewise, using these filtering options, you can reduce this number into a manageable number, right? And that can be exported as a, here you can see export function is there, that can be exported as a, what do you call this? exported as a CSV file, right? CSV file exported as a CSV here. Format is this Excel file in CSV format, right? So export. Then once this button is pressed, then similar file is exported into your destination folder, right? So this is the destination in my laptop. I saved the Scopus file into the downloads folder. And again, another free database is there. Uh, Open. I can't remember the name of that. Let me check. Um, Alexandria. Yeah, library. OpenAlex, right? OpenAlex is the other database, and you can do search the same query here. Use the same query and Boolean operators works, authors works. This database is still being on test. I haven't even used this much, but better I advise because it takes time to learn the interface as well because they are still being developed. This is a free database as well. You can try downloading because the same functionality is available, which is having the same functionalities like Scopus, right? You can have filtering options. These are the works, the articles, right? See how many articles generated? 68,710 articles generated. And you have the exporting functionalities as well. Here you can have the download functionality. Filtering options available. Here you can see article, book chapter. You can select this one. Filtering options. Then keyword wise filtering options is there, right? So those type of options are there, and you can export as a CSV file as well. So all these two are what do you call this free databases. Everyone can access. You even can access those two databases. And even if you want to find out the PDF articles, they provide, right? So PDF available here. Here you can see abstract. This is an open access. Full article is available. If the full open access is given with this sign, full article is available. You can read, you can download. Here, all these are full open access articles. You can download. By double clicking, you can download the full paper, right? In the lens.org as well. But we are not downloading full articles. We are downloading bibliometric informations of all these, right? So we can use the Web of Science as well, right? I'm using only the Web of Science and Scopus data, but you can try with these two databases, right? Same query. You need to select topic, add a row, topic. This one. The same query must be typed here. I forgot to type the other part here. You have to type the same. That's why I got nearly 136,000, 39,000. You need to open another field and type the same. And as I'm doing here, you need to do the same, right? Just learn, because there are videos in my YouTube channel, and you can watch them as well. The same lecture series done to all these lecture series was done, all these slideshow, all these slides was done. This particular lecture was done to Sabaragama University as well, undergraduates in accounting department in last year, the same lecture, and video is available on YouTube. You can find that video. Maybe I think it is available in my YouTube channel as well. If not, go to the Sabaragama University website and accountancy department and search systematic literature review video. The same video is available, right? Right. Search within the Web of Science, and you have 14,000 articles in my case, but in your case, maybe less than 1,000 articles, right? So you have the filtering options. You can select article here, uh, uh, simply refine it, then language. You can select English papers. You can exclude these things because you need to take articles. You can exclude, not refined. Then right, author's language, where is language, major concept, publication titles. These we don't know how to read. Can exclude. Languages, we can read only the English. You can refine them. So likewise, you can export for my uh, convenience on exporting this. I can reduce further down to 1,000 or less than 1,000. Let's take 2026 for the sake of demonstration. And we can export it. Export in as Excel file, right? You have to export as a, sorry, you have to export it as a, sorry, Excel. I forgot to tell you something in this. You have to select here. Select when you are using Web of Science, you have to select Web of Science co-collection. Then type the same query here, not all the databases. Web of Science, topic, Web of Science. Right, 9,000. You can use the filtering options to filter the articles. Filter. Right, books not needed. Likewise, you are supposed to take only the empirical journal articles, right? So in the others, exclude. Only take the articles, others exclude. For demonstration purposes, I because this database only allowed maximum 1,000 at a time. So in order to save my time, I select less than 1,000 area. Let's say this is the final. Now you need to export this full record, right? Uh, Ranges from 1 to 490. Export as an Excel. Right. We are exporting it. Web of Science. Now exported. Now what you are supposed to do is you need to merge these two files. I have created a separate software for this. You can refer slreviewflow.com. So this is the latest. Very recently, we developed this software tool to do the rest of the things that we are supposed to do in the literature review. So this was developed by me and Dr. Kushan Lianarachige, who is now living in China and working for Google and some other tech companies. Here, this is the software, and you can see built by me and K. Larachige. Right. So now you need to get register with this, get it started. Before that, you can sign up. Right. I can log in. Once you sign up, then you have this window, and by using the password, you can log into this particular software. Right. Then I can permit, because from my side, I have to authorize your registrations. But this is the free software for now, but later on, still being developed. The rest of the things, we are going to include advanced analysis tools into this. These days, still we are now in the process of developing and updating this. This particular software is now running the test period these days. Since that you are given free, given the access as a free basis. So just register and try to use it and enjoy the benefits of literature review, right? So just register with this. Then once you register, then I can approve from here. Then you can use it. Otherwise, if I don't approve your registrations, then you are not allowed to do the rest of the things in the software, right? So if you have already registered, let me know. Then from my side, I will approve. Right. So you can create a project once authorization was received. Then you can create a project. You can name it as BMSLR test. Now this is our project. Now go to that project. Now we are uploading our CSV Scopus file. This is the Scopus. What happens? Maybe I'm trying my because since I did it very fast, maybe sometimes there may be errors in the Scopus file. I will select another file from my own saved files. It's Right here you can see Scopus. Take this, upload another file. Take this one. So I'm taking another file which is on workplace romance. Uh, test Scopus. So I think there is a problem with my software these days. Anyway, I will correct it after the session. So now what has happened? Right, done. Now Scopus file uploaded. Now Web of Science file. Web of Science is this one. Right, done. Now what we want to do is we need to merge these two files into one particular file, right? Now to do that, continue map field. We need to map the fields in each file. Here I can show you. This is the Scopus file. Can open. Can just show you the bibliometric information of this file. Right, so these are the bibliometric informations, right, in the downloaded CSV file. We have 49 papers available. All are journal papers, right? So these are the fields on bibliometric information. We have author, author's full name, title, year, source means journal title, volume. All these are the bibliometric informations. We have the abstract here, abstract column. This is the one we are going to use for our bibliometric analysis and identify gaps and author keywords. So those two are the most important fields that we want to do the bibliometric analysis, right? So similar type of file is available in the Web of Science, Web of Science file as well, same thing. Here you can see Web of Science. This is the Web of Science file. Right now, we need to merge these two into one particular file, and for that, our software provide the service to merge. Now, mapping the fields, we can select here authors. We can select all these fields. Right? We can make it fuzzy. Fuzzy means sometimes in one database, if you take KG Priyashantha, one particular journal, one particular database mention K.G.Priyashantha, right? and in the other database mentioned KG Priyashanta without dots, something like that. So then system we develop need to identify these two names as the one same person. System must understand not these two are two persons. In this case, the system must identify these two as one person, right? So fuzzy means that, right? So we have said fuzzy for authors' full names. From that fields, the system identify the deviations in the names and in the fields and justify whether it is a separate or same person or same thing, right? So make it fuzzy, but DOI number is exact number that is not varied. So in both databases, the same number mentioned, right? Now, reference count, yes, exact. Right, okay. Now you can save maps. Now we have 77 Scoopers records, Web of Science 118 records, matching fields 9. Now we need to identify duplicates. Duplicates means sometimes the journal or the paper may be indexed in Scoopers as well as Web of Science. So in that case, the same paper is in a Scoopers database as well as Web of Science database, right? So the same paper. Duplications may be there, then those must be excluded by this functionality. Now we are in the third step. Now duplicates identified. Here we have total pair 61. We have 61 duplicates, right? And those must be reviewed. And 100% matching fields do not require to review. So manual review is there. Here you can see the difference, right? So the same person in this Web of Science named as this, but Web of Science, sorry, Scoopers named as this, but same people. But the system says this is a 100% match. Then we need to review whether there is less than, because our rule is 95% above, just confirm all. But we need to find out whether there is any item matching field having less than 95%, right? So let's check one by one. And I think all are 100%, all 61, 100% matching. So you don't want to check one by one. If we confirm just quickly this top menu, then if there is any item which is below the 95%, we are not allowed to proceed with this. Which means that, right, all these 100% matching, then we removed 61 articles. Now, next step is exporting. We can export now. We remove the 61. Now, removing process is done through this button. Now, we can remove. Right. So, we can export the remaining number as a CSV. This is the final merged. In the same. Right, now we can go to the analysis section. Sorry, we can go to the now next step is analysis, reviewing part. For that, we can use WASViewer software tool. WASWeaver. And you can download WASWeaver from this, right? From the WASWeaver software, sorry, WASWeaver homepage. You can download from the web if you don't have, but I'm having my own version, WASWeaver, and install into your computer. This is the WASWeaver. Right now, create a project. Use the second button. Next. Use the second button. Next. Select Scoopers. Get that exported file, which is now we saved in downloads. This is the file we exported. Now next, co-occurrence, keywords. Take one and above. Now we can finish. Right, so this type of diagram you get. So this my research area is workplace romance. I did a search on workplace romance, and problem was workplace romance. Suppose that is the area. Earlier we took gender stereotype change, but since the file was not working, I took another file which is on workplace romance. Right now, how we interpret this, how we can find gaps on this. Right, so this is called keyword co-occurrence analysis. We use the keywords and we did the co-occurrence analysis. From that co-occurrence analysis, we can identify the areas that the lack of research available within this field, workplace romance. Right, so you can use this one and can use the rainbow color and this color coding and this one. Both these two diagrams is helpful for identifying frequently investigated areas and less frequently or gaps areas, right? And I will show you within my handout. You can see the same diagrams here. This is the network diagram. And this is the density visualization diagram, the same version of the same, right? This one, career indecision, same thing, but in a different format. Right? So you can see the same things are there, same different format. Same thing is there, different format. Right? So you can see thick lines are there, thin lines are there. Right? So these the things talking about various interpretations, right? So node sizes are there, different node sizes in different colors, clusters are there, and those interprets different things, right? So let's going to learn about those things, and based on these things, we can identify gaps, right? So here node size means here the circle size, right? Node size. Node size, higher the occurrence of a particular keyword in articles, the larger the node size. Normally, a particular keyword has been occurred in different articles frequently. Here you can see, in our case, in this case, this one is green human resource management related research. And in this case, in our case, you see, workplace romance has the frequently occurred keyword in the articles. In this case as well, large node, from the large node, it is given. Large means the larger the circle or node size, higher the occurrence in keywords. Higher the occurrence of this particular keyword in the articles, in the included articles, which means that this has been frequently investigated. So likewise, we can identify the frequently investigated area. And not only that, link strength. Link strength means you can see a thicker line here rather than when compared to this. Here you can see uh, a strong lines, thicker lines, right? Solid. This one, right? Rather when compared to the other things, other lines here, this one when compared to this one, right? So which means that the with this with the keyword green human resource management, this keyword has been occurred, which means that this area has been, if you take 10 articles, right, out of 10 articles, in 9 articles, this has been mentioned, right? So majority articles mention these two in their articles, these two keywords, which means that these two have been frequently investigated. So this is the area researchers have investigated, right? So the line size indicates the number of investigations in the research area. Let's take the other. And link strength, then cluster. So cluster here means this is a cluster. Red, blue, and green. So we have basically 3 clusters. And these are the clusters: red, green, blue. In the red cluster, the keywords are here. Keywords are these. In the green cluster, those are the keywords. Here, environmental knowledge. Red cluster, environmental knowledge. Ethical leadership. Green behavior. Green values, right? So those are the keywords clustered into this particular red cluster. Cluster means a common area of investigation, right? So our task is to identify or give a common name to this area. This is a family. This is another family. This is another family. So which means that the green human resource management, because the area, as I can remember, I took the studies from 2015 to 2025. The publication year range was taken this, right? So articles published within this year range was taken to this particular analysis for this particular review. And within this last 10 years period, research have been only investigated only in 3 areas. So one area is this, the other area is this one, and the other area is this one, right? So then if you are taking in your conceptual framework another different area, you can simply identify, check whether this area, suppose you can say, you can give a common name A, you can give a common name B, you can give a common name C, but you are studying D, right? You are studying D. Then simply you can determine D has not been investigated within the last 10 years. So that is a gap. That is a gap, right? So then how you give a common name or theme name? Here you can see for the red cluster, we have given a common theme as green psychological climate. So for this, we can give green psychological climate, right? And for this, here you can see recruitment and selection, green training, green performance management. All these are HRM practices. Then we gave the name as green human resource management practices. This theme is named as green human resource management practices. And this one, competitive advantage and environmental performance, and those are the outcomes, right? So how you can do this? Go to the Excel file. Go to the Excel file and find out the findings related to each keyword, right? You can in giving team names, you can go to the, let's take this one, the merge file. Suppose this is the merge file. Go to the abstract column and keyword column. Take Control F and type the keyword here. Suppose I think this is not the correct file. Main keyword type here. Once typed, then highlighted the author keyword column that mentions the relevant keyword. Then corresponding abstract column, read the abstract column and try to find out the finding. And those findings required to be reported in a paragraph, right? So sometimes you may not be understand very well this process since we have very limited time, but you can watch the videos. There are enough videos in my YouTube channel. You can watch them. Let's take this one, right? Here you can see, you can take the green, let's say environmental knowledge. Environmental knowledge is typed here. Environmental knowledge is typed here, then searched, then first abstract that mention environmental knowledge is mentioned here. Then read the finding section and try to understand what has been found. And for that, for the purpose of understanding, I have drawn the conceptual framework highlighted in the finding, right? So here you can see the findings reveal that employees' environmental knowledge can magnify the indirect effect. This is the finding. And the ethical leadership is there, green behavior is there. Green behavior, ethical leadership is mediated by green human resource management, and green human resource management, green behavior relationship is moderated by environmental knowledge. So moderation is there in this. This finding says about moderation effect of environmental knowledge. So environmental knowledge moderates this relationship. This is the finding. And likewise, you need to check all these when once this step is done, then next, find next, then next article that mentioned environmental knowledge is highlighted, same as this. You can need to find out the finding and write on a separate paragraph. And so read the paragraph once completing the entire sheet relating to the environmental knowledge. Then you can find out you can have a common paragraph on the findings on environmental knowledge. Then read that paragraph and identify a common pattern. And based on the common pattern, you can not only the single environmental knowledge, you have another, let's say, same thing needed to be done. For example, for the environmental knowledge, all the findings related to the environmental knowledge required to be found and write in a paragraph. All the findings related to the ethical leadership required to be found and write in a separate paragraph. And all the green behavior related findings required to be found and must be written in a separate paragraph. Likewise, all this you have for all the findings relating to each keywords within the Excel file needed to be recorded or reported or written in a separate paragraph, which means that if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keywords, 5 paragraphs must be there. And read all these 5 paragraphs and identify a common pattern. And since this is a cluster family, there must be a common pattern. And those common pattern, that common pattern must be understood. And for the common pattern, complying with the theory, you must give a common name. So that name was given like this. And we found that all these things highlighted one thing, that is green psychological climate. Right? Here, likewise, the same thing applied to this cluster as well. The green human resource management, green training, green performance management, green recruitment, all these are green HRM practices. Then we gave the name as green human resource management practices. And this one as well, relating to these 2 keywords, we searched the findings and developed 2 paragraphs and read the 2 paragraphs. And by reading the 2 paragraphs, we understood that these two are the outcomes of green human resource management. And this is a non-environmental outcome, and this is an environmental outcome. And then we gave the common name as environmental and non-environmental outcomes, right? So now, likewise, we identified 3 themes, right? So first theme is this one, which is relating to this. Second theme is this one, which is relating to this. And third theme is this one, that is on this, right? Same thing here. First theme, second theme, third theme. Right? Now, what this diagram says about. Now, go to the next paragraph, next slide. Next slide. Here, density visualization, this one. This one. Density visualization, red, orange, or yellow. We have 3 color combinations. I turned this graph into rainbow color combination. Rainbow color means red, green, blue. Right? Red, green, blue combination. If other combinations you selected, orange, green, indigo, or yellow, green, violet combinations are there. But I turned into this rainbow color combinations, which means that this diagram reflected in red, green, blue, 3 color combinations, right? So if the red areas, red nodes, normally these higher occurred areas given in red nodes. Red node indicates areas with a high density of keywords. These are hot zones where many keywords occur frequently. Normally, red indicated areas are the frequently investigated areas, right? So we have enough knowledge on that area. No need to do research, right? Which means that we have enough knowledge on that area. This red indicates enough knowledge. Then green indicates moderate knowledge, and blue indicates no knowledge. No knowledge means that you can see these are the same thing. These are here, right? So this one indicated in blue, light blue, and this one, these two, this is in green. This is not required to do research on this area, and this one do not want to take because this has been investigated very frequently. There are enough knowledge on that area. There are enough moderate knowledge on this area, but this area and whole this theme has not been properly investigated. So these are the gaps. This is a gap, and this is a gap, and this is a gap, right? So you can take these areas for your research because this indicates a gap. So that's how gaps can be identified. And you can do the same thing for your definitions, scales, and methodologies, right? Since we have very limited time, I can do all these things, but now I'm going to tell you how you can structure your dissertation chapter. Structuring. This is the video that mentions everything about do the same thing with reference management tools, right? So this is how this particular video mentions. I am sending the same thing through chat. You can save it. You can watch it leisurely. Same process done with reference management tools explained in this video. And With Google, same thing done with Google only, given in this video. All these videos are available in my YouTube channel. You can watch them leisurely, and that is again being sent to the chat. Watch that as well. And right now, structuring the literature review chapter. Where is that? Sorry. Right. So literature review chapter, you can provide an introduction. In the introduction, about how the following sections is organized can be done. You can briefly mention the problem statement, problem, and based on the problem, you can say that how the literature was done and basically the methodology followed, how the articles identified, the process we did. Now explained here under the introduction. Right? So what are the variables and what databases used, what are the inclusion criteria and all these, right? Maybe in 3 to 4 paragraphs, you can mention literature review, introduction. And for, in the last paragraph, you can mention how the following subsequent sections are organized and structured, right? Then you can mention the definitions of study variables. Definition simply can be reviewed, same as I did for the keyword co-occurrence analysis. You can identify keywords relating to definitions, and you can define you can review definitions. For example, I have provided gender stereotype here from 1970 to 2020. I have reviewed the definition, right? So here you can see definition, the terminology, main terminology highlighted here, and the research finding, right? So not research article in which this definition has been given. And finally, I have given my own definition. Priyashanta given another definition, and that this is one, right? So you can review all these definitions and you can identify what are the contradictions and what are the this can be manually done, or using AI model you can do it, or you can simply do the same thing with our software SL review, because now that option will be included very soon in our software slreviewflow.com. That software provides qualitative content analysis, and through that you can identify common patterns in definitions, contradiction in definitions, and all these things. Very soon that function will be available. Otherwise, you can do it manually by coding thematic content analysis or qualitative content analysis. By using qualitative content analysis, you can identify common patterns and contradictions in the definitions. And finally, you can operationalize a common definition for your study. And that is a review on definition. And then likewise, you can use scales, theories, methodologies, and constructs. For the constructs, obviously, you can do the keyword co-occurrence analysis. From that, you can simply identify what are the frequently investigated areas and what are the areas that has not frequently investigated, or in other words, what are the areas having gaps, by looking at the color zones in the keyword co-occurrence and keyword density visualization maps. And those can be given in the literature review chapter as well. And same, if you have two variables, two types of analysis, two separate analysis must be done by downloading two sets of data sets each, right? Now, definitions done, then review definitions must be included. Then dependent variable, if you have two variables, right? So for the dependent variable must be done first, and descriptives must be provided. That part was not covered because I need more time to do the rBiblioShiny. Through the rBiblioShine, you can identify descriptives of this particular article. For example, I can show you descriptives here like this. these are the descriptives, right? Annual article production. So this particular output was generated through our BiblioShiny software, but very soon this type of analytics can be performed with SLReviewFlow.com. This type of average citation received and articles, journals that articles published, most relevant sources, and countries those published. Those type of analysis can be generated. Those are descriptive results. So they must be mentioned in the what do you call this? In the chapter structure here, right? So descriptives, article profile. Then determinants. Determinants means if you have two variables, right? So if you have two variables like this is the determinant, this is the outcome. Then suppose y variable is the dependent variable and x variable is the independent variable. Now you are reviewing x variable. You downloaded bibliometric information on x and did a keyword co-occurrence analysis. And in that you can list down what are the determinants, right? Of this one. Sorry, not determinants. For this one, this is the outcome, right? So now you need to find out outcomes. If because we are taking the dependent variable, this first. Y variable is taken first. For that, we need to do the literature review by downloading bibliometric information on this. And because this is an outcome for this is a determinant. Now, we need to find out within this article sources, what are the determinants and check whether this is mentioned here. If there is no, then we can say that this has not been tested within this. And take the same thing for the X like this. And for this, you need to find out outcomes of this and list down all these outcomes within this article range and check whether this Y variable is mentioned in this particular list. If that is not there, then Y is a gap for this. Then you can simply say that this has not been mentioned in the research, right? And review can be mentioned like this, that this area has not been investigated and the findings, results was found like that, right? So simply for that, you can use what do you call gap analysis or thematic analysis or keyword co-occurrence analysis. So likewise, you can do the same thing for other things as well. For the theories, theory is the other area. If you have three variables or these three variables, you can do the same things. If you have four variables, you can do the same thing and structure like this. And for the theories, you can do the same thing. And finally, you can develop the conceptual framework, right? So you can say that since this review identified this gap and this review identified this gap, and finally you can say that there is a relationship between these two and that is highlighted within this theory and that has not been tested, right? For example, I can show you this one. Right? For example, for the gender stereotypes, I took 75 articles and work family conflict, 420 articles included and perceived this one for this variable, this one, for this one, right? Those are the four constructs. For all these four constructs, for one, gender status, 75 articles taken, 420, for this 62, and for this 260. Altogether, how many articles? Nearly 800 articles I have taken and did separate literature reviews and identify knowledge gap. Knowledge gap means that organization and social resources create negative impacts on employee engagement by providing technology resources. They can be minimized. This argument has been built from the findings of this individual reviews, right? So which means that this highlights this is positive relationship and there is a positive and there is a negative. Through this positive negative interaction, this is minimized. This is the idea. Employee engagement is minimized. The idea was generated from this, sorry, 4 reviews, right? And theoretical gaps, to support this idea, I selected 3 theories like this, right? So 3 theories, integrating 3 theoretical ideas and integrated into this particular model and develop a theoretical argument. An argument is like this. No holistic model found combining organizational role theory, social role theory, and JDR, and all these 3 combination of all these integration of all these 3 theories highlight this idea. Right? Empirical gap means this developed model has not been tested by anywhere else in the world. Contextual gap in Sri Lanka, this has not been tested. And all these gaps identified from these 4 reviews. Right? So that's how review studies can be done. And if you present all these things in the literature review chapter like this, then your literature review is ideal. Sound, no one can challenge. And because you have evidence, you have real evidence, because you can even publish this. And I have published all these in separate articles and very good journals, those published, and no one can argue with this argument. Right? So this is your argument, this is your theory, this is your finding, this is your new knowledge that you have created. Now empirically investigated, then obviously that has already been investigated, tested in the Sri Lankan context. If you can, because this is theoretical, not yet tested, but you are going to test this through your dissertation, right? For that, this is the foundation. This is the argument that you have developed from the literature review, right? So this has not been tested, and that has been proven by your literature reviews, right? That's all. Any question? At the start, we had nearly 88 people, 88 students, now nearly 51. Because I went very fast in order to, finish on time, but I took 30 minutes more than the given time. Since, this is a big area, but tried to give you the overview of it, right? So hope this video will provide more insights. I will upload this video into my YouTube channel, then obviously you can watch it. And similar videos available as well. Right. Thank you inviting me, especially Ms. Shalini, coordinating this event and, inviting me and, giving everything, all the arrangements, making all the arrangements, and department head, Professor Tusita Gunawardena, and the dean, all these people are really keen on research, and so they will provide more guidance on that. If you need any guidance or any help, don't hesitate to come to my room or cabin, or you can text me or WhatsApp me or meet me, call me. So I'm available anytime on your call. I can provide any help. Thank you.
Okay. So, as we come to the end of today's session, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. K.G. Prashant for conducting this highly informative and insightful workshop on systematic literature review. So, your valuable guidance, practical insights, and willingness to share your expertise have greatly benefited our students and enhanced their understanding of this throughout this dissertation process. We truly appreciate the time and effort you dedicated to making this session meaningful and engaging. So I would like to also thank to all the participants and once again express our heartfelt thanks to Dr. KJ Prashant for this meaningful session. Thank you and have a pleasant evening to all of you.
Right. You are mostly welcome. Good night, you all.
Good night.